So here's just a nice, simple illustration of why most of the things we say don't actually matter, right? So if you look, it's a little bit faint here, but there's sort of this white mountain range in the background of conversation about a restaurant brand. The green line is their sales. You would have a really hard time finding any correlation between those conversations about the brand and their sales data. But there are hidden signals in there, right? And really what our product does is finds that, right? So if I'm looking at millions of conversations, how do I find that 15% of conversation that actually is a good predictor? So Quantifind got pulled into sort of understanding the human intention through a meeting with Disney before these two movies. So spring of 2012, probably nobody in this room has heard of John Carter. It was, don't admit that. It was Disney's biggest bomb in the history of 100 years of movie making. 2 months later, Avengers opened up, right? And talk about signal and noise. You have millions of conversations on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter about what people are going to do, and they look the same, right? So leading up to John Carter and leading up to Avengers, those conversational signals all look the same. So is listening to human intention totally worthless because we can't tell the difference between the total extremes of biggest failure ever and biggest success, or is there a better way to do it? So again, what's your optimization function? What are you trying to figure out? What you're really trying to figure out is who's going to buy a ticket to the movie. So here's an example of working with one automotive company, what actually drives sales. And again, right, look at all this conversation about the brand, divide that in, discover these unknown topics, hundreds of them, and then figure out which actually are predictive. And again, this is dynamic, right? These things change over time. They change with each campaign. They change with ride sharing, disrupting the environment. If you look at the one all the way on the left, interior, so for this particular brand, focusing on the interior of the car drove sales with a really confident p-value. For the category in general, it didn't, right? So what this brand was actually able to leverage, they had a major competitive advantage in terms of focusing on the interior. So that's what you want to put in your campaigns and your messaging. That's what gets people to actually buy this car.